Gold Rush sees professional miners heading to Alaskan lands and tearing them apart. They drill down and search for gold, hoping to make their quota each mining season. The main stars on the show often hit their goals. However, many fans have questioned what happens to the land once the season ends here. Is how the season ends once the cameras stop rolling and the mining there is finished. The miners on Gold Rush can't start mining in Alaska until they have a license and permit. These have to be renewed, and the regulatory commissions can block them from getting a new claim if they feel the miners did not fulfill their obligations with the previous claims. This includes what happens when the mining seasons end, whether they mine in Alaska, South America, or the Yukon territories. When the miners finish their digs and have completed their gold haul, they are required to restore the land. They can't just cover it up. As the season wears on, the miners remove trees and other greenery and tear up the earth's surface. Once they are done, the entire area looks like a giant dead mass of brown dirt. What happens next is the reclamation. This is the law, and they can't get around it. If they don't do this, they face severe punishment. Restoration is the process of restoring, reclaiming, or refurbishing a product. For Gold Rush, this product was the land they mined. The 1902 Newlands Reclamation Act required all mining companies to reclaim the land they mined, including the irrigation processes. In 1977, a second law, the Surface Mining Control and Reclamation Act, was passed. This act specifically targeted mining operations, coal or gold. Anyone knowingly breaking this law is fined up to $2,500 or up to a year in prison. The Gold Rush miners must perform reclamation on their land when their lease is up. Reclamation is simple to understand, but not always easy to accomplish. It must increase the land's value or make it usable. When they arrive, they dig up all the land to find gold. When finished, they must deal with mountaintop removal, strip mining, or open pit mining. They must then revegetate, recontour, grade, replace topsoil, and plant trees or other greenery. When finished, the land should look as close as possible to how it did before they left. Parker Schnabel has especially been vocal about the importance of reclamation. He even won the Leckie Award for Excellence in Environmental Stewardship from the Yukon government for his reclamation work at the Little Flake Placer mine. However, on the other end of the spectrum, Tony Beets has received a few environmental violations and fines for leaving his former lands in less than optimal shape. Overall, most of the cast does the best they can to restore the land after they finish digging for gold. What are your thoughts on the reclamation process after a Gold Rush season ends? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. When the crews of Gold Rush pack up their camps, they don't just leave behind piles of pay dirt and broken dreams, they leave behind living scars of human ambition etched into remote wilderness. The mining season typically runs from late spring to early fall, dictated by melting permafrost and thawed riverbeds. Once the temperatures dip and the snow starts falling, those same dirt tracks that brought in heavy machinery become treacherous ribbons of ice. In the Yukon, the Klondike claims of Parker Schnabel and Tony Beets are transformed into frozen tundra landscapes. Parker, known for his relentless drive and perfectionism, usually winterizes his operation before heading back to his headquarters in Haines, Alaska. He and his crew drain the wash plants, secure fuel tanks, and dismantle mobile gear that can't withstand the cold. Anything left behind is at the mercy of the freeze, frozen solid until spring's thaw releases it again. Tony Beets, the king of the Klondike, has a slightly different rhythm. His sprawling dredge sites are part relic, part empire, and winter brings him time to repair his mechanical beasts and prepare for the next big dig. Beets's camp doesn't go dark entirely. Maintenance crews and caretakers often stay behind to oversee equipment and ensure that vandals, wildlife, or weather don't undo months of work. Still, even Tony admits that once the snow sets in, mining is over. The land reclaims its quiet dignity. Ghost camps of the Yukon walking through a Gold Rush site in the off-season feels like stepping into a still life painting of hard labor. Mud-caked excavators sit half-buried in ice, their arms frozen mid-scoop like mechanical fossils. Portable trailers used for bunkhouses are shuttered, their interiors still marked by coffee stains, work boots, and scrawled maps. The once bustling gold room, where fortunes were weighed, melted, and celebrated, echoes with the absence of laughter and argument. Local Yukoners sometimes visit these abandoned camps once the crews leave. A few small mining families rent or reclaim the land, salvaging what they can. Others say these sites have a haunted air, holding the echoes of all the miners who've come and gone since the original Klondike Rush in 1896. It's not uncommon to find the remnants of both worlds, old rusted sluice boxes beside the latest hydraulic equipment, connected by the same dream, Gold. Nature takes back its own. The Yukon and Alaska are not forgiving hosts. Within weeks of the crew's departure, the first snow blankets the dig sites. Rivers refreeze and wild animals return to the regions disturbed by the roar of engines. Moose wander across old haul roads, foxes den near the tailings piles, and ravens perch on the machinery as if to judge the human intrusion. Environmental regulations require the miners to follow reclamation protocols before leaving for the winter. This means reshaping disturbed earth, redirecting streams back to their natural courses, and ensuring fuel and chemicals are safely stored or removed. Parker Schnabel, whose operation has grown to industrial scale, takes this seriously. He's often spoken about the responsibility to restore the land, especially since the Yukon government keeps a close eye on mining impacts. Still, reclamation is a long game. Even after proper rehabilitation, the scars of mining can linger for decades. The tundra's vegetation regrows slowly, and tailings piles sometimes remain as man-made ridges in otherwise untouched valleys. Over time, moss, grass, and willows creep back, erasing the straight lines humans left behind. By the next mining season, it's as if the wilderness has taken a deep breath, ready to test the miners' resolve again. Behind the cameras, the off-season hustle, while the physical sites lie dormant. The gold rush world doesn't truly sleep. The off-season is a hive of planning, rebuilding, and negotiation. The show's producers at Raw Television begin editing the mountain of footage gathered during the mining months. Each crew's triumphs, breakdowns, and emotional arcs are woven into episodes that will keep fans glued to their screens all winter long. Meanwhile, the miners themselves are anything but idle. Parker Schnabel spends his winters traveling for business deals and new ventures, scouting claims in South America or examining investments back home. Tony Beat stays close to his machinery, overseeing massive repairs on his dredges and sometimes hiring welders and mechanics to rebuild parts that broke during the grind of summer. Rick Ness, when active on the show, used his downtime to strategize financing for his next season or work side hustles to keep his dream afloat. The downtime also becomes a chance for reflection. Many of these miners live hard, short summers, 7 days a week, 18 hours a day. Winter offers the only opportunity to rest, reconnect with family, and remember why they risk it all each season. Yet, as veterans of the trade often say, the gold rush never really leaves your blood. The locals' perspective for the residents of Dawson City, Haines Junction, or any of the small outposts scattered across the Yukon and Alaska, the departure of the gold rush crews is both a relief and a loss. The influx of miners brings jobs, fuel purchases, and spending in local stores. But it also brings noise, traffic, and environmental strain. When the miners leave, the towns return to their slow, wintry rhythm. Locals once again dominate the saloons and diners where, during mining season, reality TV crews often filled the booths. The Yukon River freezes over, and life becomes about survival, keeping generators running, chopping firewood, and waiting for the aurora to light the sky. Still, there's a strange pride in knowing that their home is the setting for one of television's most enduring adventure series. The afterlife of abandoned claims, not every gold rush site is revisited. Some claims, after being mined to exhaustion, are left to nature permanently. Others change hands, bought by new dreamers chasing what might remain in the pay layer. These abandoned or inherited sites often tell quiet stories of triumph and failure. Take Todd Hoffman's old claims near Quartz Creek. After his departure from the show, the land continued to be worked sporadically by smaller operations, though few have matched his ambition. Likewise, the Scribner Creek claim, once synonymous with Parker's rise to fame, now stands as a symbol of the transient nature of fortune. What glitters one year may yield nothing the next. Some of these old sites have become local curiosities. Adventure tour guides in Dawson occasionally point out where the Gold Rush crews once filmed, now overtaken by grass and willow. For diehard fans, these forgotten pits and gravel piles are sacred ground, the real world remains of a TV legend.